Hey everyone, this is John with the Active Towns channel, and I am in downtown Denver today. Just got off the bus from Boulder, and I'm going to be riding from the downtown area out to the Central Park neighborhood, which is the old Stapleton airport area that was redeveloped into a community. So let's turn the camera around and ride on out to Central Park. Hope you enjoy the ride. And we are getting close to the front of the Union Station area here. This is where the splash pad is. It's not running at the moment, but when we were here in August, it was going full force. And what we're going to want to do is get out onto the bike lane up ahead. Okay, we're riding away from Union Station now on 17th. You can see we've got some construction going on right now, sort of blocking the bike path a little bit. And that was a little bit of a rough transition over into this left side running bike lane. And we're going to be turning left here on Market. And we've got a nice protected bike lane here on Market. We're going to be here for just a little bit. But yeah, not too bad. That's what it looks like behind. Very nice. Nice little bike and scooter corral, parking corral. That is a wonderful way to daylight intersections. Really highly recommend cities do that. Very nice. This is the intersection of Market and 20th Street, and you can see Coors Field right there. It's where the Colorado Rockies professional baseball team plays. And here's another nice look at the bike corral, scooter parking. Again, wonderful daylighting opportunities there. And again, we're on this one-way Market Street. Again, looking back over to Coors Field. A lot has changed in this neighborhood since I used to work down in this area. We've got lots more housing in the area. Not to mention a lot more businesses, restaurants, cafes, all establishments that really didn't exist. Much of what we see here on Market Street, these were old buildings, mostly abandoned, and they are now hosting various establishments doing business. Pretty cool. Okay, now we are on Walnut Street. Market Street sort of continues into Walnut. Again, more housing. It's great to see. And you can see that we're just easily transitioning right out of the downtown area of Denver, where the high rises were, to really this mid-rise former industrial area. And yeah, it's been pretty cool. This is rather interesting though. We are just lose our bike lane and sort of forced out into a Sharrow situation for this short stretch. And I say short, I think the last time I was on this, some of this area was really transformed, but could be wrong. We do see that it's got some lighter, quicker, cheaper materials for traffic calming, but a little out of the norm to have this be a shared environment at 30 miles per hour. Of course, that would be appropriate at 30 kilometers per hour, but not miles per hour. And again, we just had our stop sign there. That was a four-way stop. And again, the law here in Colorado, the Colorado Safety Stop Law, basically dictates that people on bikes can treat a stop sign like a yield. And if it is safe to proceed through a stop light, they may do that. There's scooter parking. So in essence, treating a stop light more like a stop sign, come to a stop. If it's safe to proceed, you may proceed. If it's not safe to proceed, as you saw earlier at that one stoplight, we did not go through it. I waited. Well, yeah, I mean, this has been all in all pretty comfortable. There have only been a couple of cars along this stretch. Here's one here. And clearly traveling under the 30 mile per hour speed limit. I really think that this could be reduced down to 20, which would be a lot closer to our target of 30 kilometers per hour, which is approximately 18.4 miles per hour, if I remember correctly. Some really cool stuff here. Traffic calming here. And this block of Larimer Street is still pedestrian only, blocked off, holdover from the pandemic. Love this mural, so cool. All right, we're heading up this way for a little while. You can see this is branded as a neighborhood bikeway. So, really love the fall colors. Makes for a very pleasant ride. And we're coming up on one of the Denver lighter, quicker, cheaper, quick build traffic calming traffic circles. You can see they're using curb stops and asphalt and signage to very, very quickly install these mountable traffic calming circles. What I mean by mountable is that if an 18-wheeler needs to make it through that intersection, or an emergency vehicle like a fire truck that's super long, 40-foot long one, they can easily mount those curbs. But a normal passenger vehicle or truck would not want to do that. That would be rather jarring for them. So, an effective traffic calming tool in the toolbox for DOTI, the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure here in Denver. Again, you see a nice bike facility here. This is a one-way street. You can see it over there as well. And we did have a red light, so we came to a stop and saw that it was safe to proceed through, so we did. Again, these are very pragmatic laws that every state, I think, should adopt. Bikes are not cars, and there should be a different set of motor vehicle traffic laws associated with that reality. Again, nice. And again, this is a great example of lighter, quicker, cheaper traffic calming materials here being used to tighten up the turn radii and the crossing distances. These are done to make it safer for everyone. And using the lighter, quicker, cheaper materials, those flex posts, it's a great way to put it in place. And then when you have the money, you go ahead and make that infrastructure permanent. Looks like we've got a little bit of a complicated intersection here. Let's hear into what we're doing. Well, that was a little rough in that intersection there, looking back at it. Looks like that whole street and intersection is being redone, or about to be redone. A little bit of an odd angle approaching it. And nonetheless, we're through there. You can see we're on the D6, D11 bike route. Looks like we've got streets that are currently being repaved. Hopefully that means that they are going to be restriped soon. We shall see. And we're essentially heading due east at this moment. I think we're able to roll right through this little pedestrianized space right here. And you saw the bollards back there. Pretty intuitive that we're able to roll through here, I think. And now we're at 28th and Williams, continuing to roll down. We're going to be on this street for a while. Oh yeah, Ford Warren, branch of the library. Very nice. Bus stop and a bike locked up there. Looks like a neighborhood cafe. Very nice. All right, and we're going to be turning right on North Gaylord Street here. Pretty cool house there. And looks like we're popping over to East 26th Avenue. We'll be turning left. Again, just extraordinary how beautiful it is here in the Front Range area, the Denver metro area. I've been in Boulder and Fort Collins the last a few days, week or so, I guess. And yeah, it's a beautiful day. I'm even in short sleeves and shorts. The end of October. But don't worry, winter is coming tomorrow. And we're going to be on this for quite some time, about 3 miles. You can see we have a little bit of enhanced separation with the flex post, but then that goes away through this intersection, which is rather unfortunate. We'd like to see that continue all the way down, but apparently there wasn't enough room, according to the powers that be. Speed limit of 25. So I can tell you that it did feel fine being in the lane next to those buses, at least for me, but they were also traveling at that point in time closer to 15 miles per hour. I was just getting rolling, so I was closer to just 7 or 8 miles per hour. Looking down Elizabeth here, just for fun. You do notice off to the right, we've got sort of a golf course situation here. We've got some high-rise residential towers there. And then looking back towards downtown, you can see a few of the other taller buildings might be poking up. But again, we're heading pretty far out to the east, to the Central Park neighborhood. Again, looking down Fillmore. As I mentioned in the intro, this neighborhood used to be the airport. So it used to be the Denver International Airport. At the time, it was called Stapleton Airport due to a complicated history of who Stapleton was. I don't really know the details, but I do know that they decided it was appropriate to rename the neighborhood from Stapleton to something else. That something else that they chose was Central Park. It's neither central, nor is it technically a park. So, go figure. Not sure how the heck they came up with that name, but they did. I'm sure naming is always a challenge. Here's Adams Street. Not sure if the Adams family has a haunted house down there or not. We'll have to find out later. I'm enjoying just looking down some of these side streets. Again, to the right, it's just golf course. But it's always cool to see what these side streets are. This is Madison. And we can see a smaller form factor of some of these houses. 1950s, 1940s, 1960s houses. And then a rebuild, going more grand, building up. But then occasionally you see one of these older, more historic brick homes, like this one here with the green roof. This is Garfield Street. Very nice. Okay, we're rolling up to Colorado Boulevard. Colorado Boulevard is one of those big, nasty stroads. You can see in that direction there. That's a mess. We're basically talking about a 7-lane highway, 35 miles per hour, but it's not really a highway because every so often you have an intersection with turns, turning movements. You also have a fair number of driveways immediately attached to this, like right over in that direction. That corner house, the White House, has a driveway. So it's just, again, a street road hybrid. It's a strode. It's the worst performing transportation facility there is. Needless speed, needless injuries and fatalities due to high numbers of crashes because you're mixing speed and friction. And speaking of friction, it's time for us to go toddle our way across this monster. Again, cities, if you want to survive into the future, you need to transform your stroads into something that is more human scale and livable. Since you do have quite the big right-of-way, you have the opportunity to do a whole bunch of depaving, maybe put trams down the middle with grass, one lane of motor vehicle traffic in each direction, and very nicely appointed active mobility network facilities, protected bike lanes, pedestrian realm that is inviting. I know the distances are quite great, but that's the reason why you're going to run a tram, a streetcar line down that grassy median, one in each direction frequently. Love this neighborhood here. Rolling through the leaves. Just love that sound. Notice how much quieter it is, just a block, 2 blocks away from that Strode. You've got these older homes here. They've got alley access, beautiful tree canopies, beautiful leaves coming down. Really quite pleasant, extraordinary. Again, the date today is Monday, October 28th. It's just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful day. What a great day for a ride. Again, heading out to Central Park, and couldn't be more pleasant. If we want to fine tune or put a fine point on this particular street, we see that we've got parking on that side of the street. This side, no parking, just a painted bike lane, which in most circumstances is pretty useless. This is a 25-mile-per-hour street, even though the lane width dimensions, you get in the middle of the lane here and you realize how wide it is. It doesn't exactly encourage 25. So I think narrowing things up a bit, figuring out if you've got enough space for protected bike facilities would be great. So far, it's been very, very comfortable. None of the drivers have been aggressive, but we're also riding in the middle of the day. So I'm not sure if this would be as pleasant in the afternoon commute or the morning commute. I will find out because I'll be heading back this way probably at about 5, maybe 6 p.m. Again, looking down this beautiful street, some historic homes, and lots of tree canopy. According to my mapping program, I am using Google Maps today. I looked at using points. It was okay, but I still felt like I had more nuance with my Google Map. But it looks like we've got less than 10 minutes to go till our destination. I'm gonna be there plenty early, so I'm gonna bop around and get some lunch prior to meeting up with Nick Euler. Nick works for Tool Design and happens to live out in the Central Park neighborhood. It'll be wonderful to reconnect with him. The last time I did an on-bike interview with Nick, he was living in Memphis, Tennessee. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We also did a podcast episode as well. I'll be sure to link that in the video description below. Look at this street. Oh, I love those leaves. Looks like an old school here. Beautiful. You can see some new concrete work bringing those sidewalks and crossings up to ADA level. And we see a nice alley there. So again, these homes in this neighborhood are alley access. Again, it's feeling like many of these homes are sort of a mix between the 40s, 50s, 60s. I suppose that kind of makes sense. You know, we're about 6 minutes out from what used to be the airport. So you figure that they were probably starting to feel the impact of the constant jets landing and taking off. You see the end school zone here. We're still on the D6 bike route. I'm just cruising along. These guys are ready for Halloween. You've probably noticed that we've mostly been residential, but one of the nuances of residential zoning is that churches are oftentimes permitted, allowed on some of the corner lots in a standard single-family zoning area. That was clearly the case for that church, neighborhood church there. What we're missing, obviously, we haven't seen much in the way of any corner markets and stores of any kind. That would have been nice to have. Okay, here's Monaco. And we see that this is more of a boulevard with a center median of trees. Sort of a parkway kind of feel to it. A nice empty lot right there. That would be a nice little market with 0 parking requirements. Thank you very much. So that you can maximize the utility of a little corner store, little corner market. Again, single family zoning with zoning requirements of parking. It's kind of the death knell of small little businesses. They end up having to provide so much paved parking when in reality, there's more than enough street parking around. There's another church, and you see just exactly what they had to do in terms of putting paved parking in, which is just such a waste. All that impervious cover and adding to the cost of the building. What we know now compared to what we knew as truth a few years ago, decades ago, we know that that is just the wrong thing to do. We're going to be turning right up here, I believe, before we get to this major street. At least that's my hope. I have no desire to be on a major strode. Oh yeah, it's on Quebec Street. Looks like I do need to turn on that street. How about if I turn on this street instead? I think I'm very close to my park. Yeah. It really wants me to head towards that big street. That's Quebec Street. Actually, the park I'm going to is on that street, so I suspect that's my park right there. So I see what it wanted me to do. It really wanted to deliver me to this big park. But that's fine. Let's see where this puts us at and what we want to do. All right. Well, not a very graceful transition for active mobility on that side of the park. But we're here. We're in the Fred Thomas Memorial Park. We're going to be meeting up with Nick a little bit later, and then riding in the neighborhood, in the community. Now, these homes and Quebec Street, I remember flying in and out of this particular airport, so I know that this is like one of the perimeter roads, stroads around the big airport. But we're actually going to be meeting up with Nick at this shade structure here, this pavilion. So let's roll around here. I'm assuming this was one of the early parks that was built on the airport property, but I could be wrong. I'll have to look that up. This is a very old and brutalist facility. Gosh, I would say that it might have been in place before the airport. But yeah, this is where we're going to meet up with Nick. I hope you all enjoyed that ride here to the Fred Thomas Memorial Park. And I'll be back with a video from my tour around the Central Park neighborhood with Nick Euler. And hey, if you did enjoy this little video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below and share it with a friend. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Just click on that subscription button down below and ring that notifications bell. And if you're enjoying this content here on the Active Towns channel, please consider supporting my efforts by becoming an Active Towns ambassador. It's easy to do. Just head on over to activetowns.org and navigate up to the support tab at the top of the page. Okay, that's it for me. Until next time, this is John signing off by wishing you much activity, health, and happiness. Cheers. And again, sending a huge thank you out to all my Active Towns ambassadors supporting the channel on Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, YouTube Super Thanks, as well as making contributions to the nonprofit and purchasing things from the Active Towns store. Every little bit adds up and it's much appreciated. Thank you all so much.